The empty chair. Olivia Chen checked her watch for the third time in 15 minutes. The restaurant's ambient lighting cast a warm glow across the empty chair opposite her. 30 minutes late, she sipped her water, feeling the knot in her stomach tighten with each passing moment. "He'll be here," she whispered to herself, adjusting the sleeve of her navy blue dress, the one her roommate Jade had insisted would bring good luck. At 32, Olivia had built a successful career as a landscape architect in Seattle, transforming urban spaces into breathtaking gardens. Yet her personal life remained as barren as the concrete she worked to beautify. Her phone buzzed. A text message from her date, Brad. Something came up. "Can't make it, sorry." 7 words. That's all she was worth. Olivia's cheeks flushed hot with embarrassment as she noticed the waiter's sympathetic glance. She picked up the menu to shield her face, fighting back tears that threatened to spill over. At the adjacent table, Marcus Rivera noticed the woman's expression change as she read her phone. He hadn't meant to watch, but something about her had caught his attention earlier. Perhaps the genuine warmth of her smile when she thanked the waiter, or the way she'd arranged her silverware with precise, delicate movements. Marcus was in Seattle for business, escaping the pressure of running Horizon Innovations, his tech company valued at billions. Few would recognize him here, he preferred it that way. At 40, he'd built an empire, but found the view from the top surprisingly lonely. "Would you like to order now, ma'am?" the waiter asked Olivia, his voice gentle. Olivia faltered, unsure if she should admit she'd been stood up or pretend to wait longer. "Actually," she finally said, straightening her shoulders, "I'll just take the check for the wine, please." The waiter nodded and disappeared. Olivia reached for her purse, desperate to escape before the tears came. Her fingers trembled as she pulled out her wallet. Marcus watched her composure crumble slightly, a trembling lip quickly bitten, eyes blinking rapidly. Before he could question his impulse, he signaled their shared waiter. "Please add the lady's bill to mine," he said quietly. "And if she's willing, I'd like to send over a dessert." When the waiter returned to Olivia's table, he placed a delicate plate of tiramisu before her. "Compliments of the gentleman at table 12, he said, nodding toward Marcus. Surprised, Olivia turned. Her gaze met warm brown eyes and a hesitant smile. Not the leering expression she'd feared, but something genuine, almost shy. Marcus raised his espresso cup slightly in greeting. After a moment's hesitation, Olivia picked up her dessert plate and walked to his table. "Is this seat taken?" she asked, her voice steadier than she felt. "It is now," he replied, standing briefly as she sat down. "I'm Marcus." "Olivia," she said, noticing the crinkles around his eyes when he smiled. "Thank you for the dessert, but you didn't have to do that." "I know," he said simply, "but sometimes the kindest gestures are the unnecessary ones." Something in his voice, a quiet sincerity, made her relax slightly. "Bad night?" he asked. Olivia laughed softly. "Is it that obvious?" "Only to someone who's had their share," Marcus replied. As they shared the tiramisu, Olivia found herself telling this stranger about her frustrating string of dating disasters, while he listened with genuine interest. For the first time that evening, the empty chair across from her didn't feel like an accusation. Neither of them realized that this chance encounter would change everything, that sometimes life's most beautiful beginnings arise from its most disappointing moments. Unexpected connections. "So you're telling me you once designed a garden that spelled out, 'Will you marry me?' when viewed from above?" Marcus leaned forward, captivated by Olivia's story. Olivia nodded, her earlier embarrassment forgotten. "The client hired a helicopter for the proposal. Took 3 months of planning and planting. Seasonal blooms timed perfectly." "And did she say yes?" "Actually," Olivia smiled, twirling her dessert fork, "he said yes. It was a reverse proposal. She wanted something unforgettable." They'd been talking for nearly 2 hours, the restaurant gradually emptying around them. Something about Marcus felt refreshingly authentic. He asked questions about her work with genuine curiosity, not the perfunctory interest most dates feigned before steering conversations back to themselves. "What about you?" Olivia asked. "What brings you to Seattle?" Marcus hesitated. "Business. I'm in tech." The deliberate vagueness wasn't exactly a lie, but it wasn't the whole truth either. After years of people changing around him once they learned who he was, he cherished this moment of being just Marcus, not Marcus Rivera, the billionaire entrepreneur whose face occasionally graced business magazines. Visiting or local? She pressed gently. Visitor. Based in San Francisco, but I've been considering a Seattle expansion. He watched her face, searching for any sign of recognition, relieved when he found none. The waiter approached with apologetic body language. I'm sorry, but we'll be closing in 15 minutes. They both looked around, surprised to find themselves the last guests. Outside, rain had begun to fall, painting the windows with glistening streaks. I should call a rideshare, Olivia said, reaching for her phone. I'm headed downtown if that helps, Marcus offered. My driver can drop you anywhere on the way. Normally, Olivia would have politely declined, a careful habit formed from years of cautionary tales. But something about Marcus made her nod. That would be nice, thank you. His car, a discreet black luxury sedan with tinted windows, waited under the restaurant's awning. The driver, a woman in her 50s with a kind face, nodded professionally as they entered. As they drove through rain-slicked streets, the city lights reflecting like scattered stars on wet pavement, Olivia felt an unexpected ease in the silence between them. When they reached her apartment building, Marcus stepped out to walk her to the entrance, shielding her from the rain with his jacket held over both their heads. I had a wonderful evening, he said, their faces close in the shelter of his makeshift umbrella. Would it be too forward to ask for your number? Under the soft glow of her building's entrance light, Olivia studied his face, the earnestness in his expression, the gentle hesitation in his voice. It would be perfectly forward, she replied, taking his phone and entering her number. Their fingers brushed as she returned it, a momentary touch that lingered in sensation. On impulse, Olivia stretched up and kissed his cheek. Thank you for turning my disaster into something beautiful, she whispered. Marcus stood motionless, watching her disappear into the building, feeling something long, dormant, stirring to life within him, something that had nothing to do with business deals or financial success, but everything to do with the simple, profound connection between two people who'd found each other on an otherwise ordinary night. Between two worlds, over the next 3 weeks, Olivia and Marcus created their own universe. Coffee at hidden cafes, morning walks along the waterfront, dinner at hole-in-the-wall restaurants where Marcus seemed relieved by the anonymity. Tell me about your childhood dreams, Olivia asked one evening as they sat on a bench overlooking Elliott Bay, sharing a container of street food. Marcus smiled. I wanted to build robots, not factory automation, companions. I was a lonely kid. He paused. My parents worked constantly. I spent a lot of time imagining friends. And now? Now I build systems. Less exciting than robots, but more practical. What Marcus didn't mention was that Horizon Innovations had recently acquired a pioneering robotics firm, or that his systems powered half the smart devices in America. Each time the conversation veered toward his professional life, he redirected with practiced subtlety. Olivia noticed the deflections but didn't press. Everyone had their reasons for privacy. Besides, she was falling for the man beside her, his thoughtfulness, his unexpected vulnerability, the way he listened as though her words were precious gifts. My father calls tonight, Marcus said reluctantly, checking his watch. Rain check on the movie? Of course, Olivia replied, squeezing his hand. Family first. What she didn't know was that Marcus was flying to New York that night for a crucial investor meeting, his third business trip since they'd met. Each time he'd offered vague explanations about work, commitments, hating the half-truths, but unsure how to bridge the growing gap between his reality and the version of himself he presented to her. The next morning, Olivia's colleague dropped a business magazine on her desk. Isn't this your mystery man? Olivia glanced down, then froze. There was Marcus in an impeccable suit instead of the casual clothes she knew, standing beside a skyscraper with Rivera unveils Horizon's new headquarters, emblazoned across the page. The article detailed Marcus Rivera's rise to tech stardom, his billions, his reputation as the Oracle of Silicon Valley. Words blurred as she read, her chest tightening with each revelation. When her phone buzzed with his name, she answered with uncharacteristic coldness. "Back from your father's call?" she asked. The silence stretched between them. "Olivia, I can explain." "Explain what? That you're actually a billionaire? That everything's been—" She stopped, unsure what to call their relationship. A lie seemed too harsh, but authenticity suddenly felt questionable. "I never lied about who I am," Marcus said softly. "Just what I do." "Same difference," Olivia replied. "I need space to think." That evening, alone in her apartment, Olivia wondered why his omission hurt so deeply. Was it wounded pride that she hadn't recognized him? Insecurity about their different worlds? Or simply the realization that while she'd shared everything, he'd calculated each disclosure? Across the city in his hotel suite, Marcus stared at the Seattle skyline, realizing that in trying to protect something precious, he might have broken it beyond repair. Broken trust. A week passed without contact. Olivia threw herself into work, designing public gardens with an intensity that concerned even her most demanding clients. At night, she replayed their conversations, searching for clues she might have missed. "You're being ridiculous," Jade told her over emergency ice cream. "So he's rich." "Is that a crime?" "It's not about the money," Olivia insisted, jabbing her spoon into vanilla bean. "It's about honesty, trust." "Did he actually lie?" Jade pressed. "Omission is still what? Protection? Privacy? The guy probably has people trying to use him constantly." Olivia had no answer. Part of her understood his caution, but another part felt foolish, a naive supporting character in someone else's story. Meanwhile, Marcus canceled meetings and postponed decisions, distracted by the silence from Olivia. His assistant finally confronted him. "Whatever's happening, fix it," she said, sliding his untouched schedule across the desk. "You've built an empire by solving problems, not avoiding them." On the 11th day of silence, Marcus appeared at Olivia's workplace, carrying nothing but sincerity. "5 minutes," he requested when the receptionist called back. Olivia emerged, professional in appearance but with shadows beneath her eyes matching his own. "Walk with me?" he asked. They moved silently through the public garden she'd designed 2 years earlier, now blossoming with early summer flowers. "I've spent my entire adult life being Marcus Rivera first, just Marcus second," he finally said. People change when they know. Their eyes shift. Conversations become performances. Olivia remained silent, watching a butterfly land on lavender nearby. "With you, I was just me, the person underneath everything else." He stopped walking. "I was selfish. I wanted to keep that feeling as long as possible." "You could have trusted me," Olivia said quietly. "That night at the restaurant, I liked you before I even knew your name. And after? If you'd known then?" The question hung between them. "I don't know," she admitted. "That's what hurts. I want to believe it wouldn't have mattered, but how can I know for sure?" Marcus nodded slowly. "I understand. Do you?" "Because your world and mine, they're completely different, are they?" he challenged gently. "Or do we just think they are?" As he turned to leave, he added, "The man you met that night, he's the real me. Everything else is just circumstance." Olivia watched him walk away, her heart at war with her mind, wondering if some bridges, once damaged, could ever truly be rebuilt. Second chances, a month later, Olivia received an unusual invitation. Coordinates and a time, nothing more. The sender, Marcus Rivera. Curiosity overpowered hesitation. Following her GPS to an undeveloped hillside property overlooking the city, she found Marcus waiting beside architectural renderings mounted on easels. "What is this?" she asked, approaching cautiously. "A possibility," he replied, his eyes hopeful but restrained. "The Horizon Foundation is funding public green spaces throughout the city. This would be the flagship project." Olivia studied the renderings, ambitious designs blending technology and nature. Solar-powered lights embedded in pathways, living walls purifying air, gardens that changed with the seasons. "It's beautiful," she admitted. "Who's the architect?" "That's why you're here. I want it to be you." Olivia's head snapped up. Is this a bribe? A professional opportunity, Marcus corrected. One you've earned. Your reputation preceded our meeting, Olivia. I'm offering this because you're brilliant, not because of us. The word us hung in the air between them. There is no us, she said, more gently than she'd intended. I know. He turned to face the view. But I've learned something important. Authenticity isn't about revealing every detail. It's about being true to your core self. A breeze carried the scent of wildflowers as silence stretched between them. I miss you, he finally said, not as Marcus Rivera of Horizon Innovations, as the man who saw you across a restaurant and recognized something rare. Olivia closed her eyes briefly. I miss you too, but I'm afraid. Of what? That I'll always wonder which version of you I'm seeing. Marcus took a step closer. Then perhaps we start again. No omissions this time. He extended his hand formally. I'm Marcus Rivera. I build technology companies, have more money than I know what to do with, hate cocktail parties, and fell completely in love with a landscape architect who sees beauty where others see empty space. The directness of his declaration caught Olivia off guard. She studied his face, the vulnerability there, the quiet hope. I'm Olivia Chen, she replied, taking his hand. I transform forgotten spaces, cry at commercials with dogs, can't cook to save my life, and might be falling in love with a man who's more than his bank account but hasn't fully convinced me yet. His smile was sunrise bright. Yet? Second chances require effort, Marcus. I'm prepared to try, he said. However long it takes. As the setting sun painted the Seattle skyline in amber and gold, they stood side by side, not touching but closer than before. Two people finding their way back to each other, understanding that true connection exists not despite our differences, but because of our willingness to bridge them. Sometimes the most beautiful gardens grow in places once thought barren, and sometimes the most profound love stories begin not with perfect circumstances, but with the courage to try again.